It's about 10 lines from the bottom. I figure the last word on the line will be Yiridasa. Ve'ishtalshalos me'elam le'elam. As it descends through Ishtalshalos from one world to the next, Gama Shechina Yard, the Shechina also descends. And here's a very, very important and difficult to comprehend word. V'neslapsha, which means it reveals itself, but in it, b'chol elam ve'elam, in each word. There is Shechina, which the Alter Rebbe gives 6 names to. It's the brain, it's the center of the creation. Over there you have Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof is Nimshach, and the Rebbe uses the Lashon Begoloi, which is also a very, very big problem. And what keeps it is the head, the brain. What's the brain is Teda. And there's 2 functions of this brain called Teda in keeping this Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof, which were these 6 labels. 2 things. Number 1, the whole of Elokus is invested in the creation. Although only a tiny measure of it is actually going to be revealed in the creation. And on the other hand, this Moyach, this Torah is Ma'alim U'Master. It conceals over the Elokus. Not in the respect that it's not there, but in the respect that it shouldn't destroy the world. Like it says, Ba'adichas in Negeres Lakedesh Chav Tes, at the Rotzen is the Seif Madreges HaTainug, it becomes a lavush for mitzvahs. Mer Weniger, he says the same thing here, but over there it's Gevaldik Adichas, over here it's Gevaldik Bekitza. So, Teda is the center of the creation. In Teda you have Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof, which is called Shechina, and it's the center of each world, the center of the world of Atzilus, and then it continues from world to world. But look at the language. Okay, Yordav and Islapsha. Yordav and Islapsha sounds like that this Shechina, this Eimet Atah, this Teda is changing as it's going from world to world. That's what it sounds like. But on the other hand, it's Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof. If it's Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof, it's not changing. So this is already a complication. If it's Yardav and Hislapsha, the real translation of the word Hislapshas is Gilui, then there has to be some concept of Shinui. If it's Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof b'li Shinui, then what's Yardav and Hislapsha? And really it's going to be a little bit of both. I have to tell you that the preferred term, the Alter Rebbe doesn't use this word, and I'm sure the Alter Rebbe knows what he's doing, is Hashra. The opposite of Hislapshas is Hashra, because Hashra means b'li Shinui. The Alter Rebbe discusses it in the Gerse Kedesh Chav Gimel. The diuk of Hashra. It's done Kama Makemis in Chasidus. Shriya means you're there, and in one way or another there's even as galus, but at the same time there's no shinu. There's no symptom. He uses the word yardav and hislapsha, but lachayre it's an inyan of Hashra, not hislapshas, because hislapshas usually means gila, like it says in the Gerse Kedesh Chav Hei Befedish. You know what the Rebbe says that people copied the Torah from Baal Shem Tov, but since he spoke in Yiddish, you know what I'm talking about? He's not spoken Yiddish. They translated it into English. And the translator, into Hebrew, the translator wrote about the Hislapshas of Elokus and Klippa Hashra. Now the Rebbe says you cannot say that the Elokus is in Klippa even of Hashra. He says the correct term is Hislapshas, but Laidok. Hashra means it comes down in an unchanged way. It's there, and in a way, or one way or another, different Gilui, but Hislapshas means his galus. His galus means symptom. So in Chav Hey, you want to use the word Hislapshas, not Hashra, because Hislapshas means that the Klippa is Ma'alim U'Master. It's B'mayit and the Eid. Hashra is a term that you could really only use for Yom of Kedusha. Over there, you're changing from Hashra to Hislapshas. L'chaid, over here, Hislapshas means Hashra, but why the Alter Rebbe doesn't use Hashra? This is Tanya Teresh B'Ksav Chassidus. He doesn't use Hashra because Hashra is the wrong word. So I have to figure out why it's the wrong word. But keep in mind the dilemma that I'm articulating. It's Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof, on Shinuyim. The whole of Elokus is loyal to the creation, although only a tiny percentage of it actually become Bezgalos. The rest of it's going to be Behelim, but it's there. And he also says that there's some kind of a change from world to world. It's Yama Shechina Yardav and Hislapsha B'chol Elam V'Yelam. If the Shechina is truly a Inyan Atzmi, you don't have to say Yardav and Hislapsha. It's all over. Yardav and Hislapsha denotes that in a certain way there's a Shinui from the way the Shechina is in the brain. Teira of Atzilus, and the brain, the Teira of Bria, and so forth. On the other hand, it's exactly the same. Zog the Rebbe, what is this place where the Shechina is mislabish, using the lavush of Teira and Mitzvah? Zog the Rebbe, every world has a center. The center of every world is the Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash is called the Esesphiris. The Moyach of the Esesphiris is Chachab Kesach Chachma Bina. This is called Kedesh HaKadoshim. It's called Gan Eden. And the place of the Gila of the Mahus v'yatzmas Ein Sof, which is also called Shechina, and Matronisa, and Eimet Atah, and Alma Desgalia, and Eima Bonim, and Knesset Yisrael, is in the Kedesh HaKadoshim of each world. Look, Meshikasa B'zeh Eitz Chaim, says in Kabbalah, Shah Shechina, Shu Malchus d'Atzilus, Shechina, which is the Malchus of Atzilus, and you have to say Pshat over here means not Malchus Lashon Simson, but Malchus Lashon Etzem. Maybe even Malchus Dein Sof, but the Pnimius of Malchus d'Atzilus. Says the Rebbe in the bracket, Shebechinas Gilui Edein Seiv Baruch, the revelation of Edein Sof, in an unchanged way, in an unadulterated way. Now, how you could call something which is not changing Gilui, I don't know, but this is the term that the Rebbe uses here. The Chayas in life, Shemei Le'elamet, which is revealed in the world without Shinuyim. Which is why this Shechina, Matru Nisei Metator, and the Knesset Yisrael, Nemabonim, and Almadis Galya Nikras, Dvaravai, Vidopivka, it's called the words of Hashem's mouth and the air of his mouth, right? The words would be the Tzura, and the air would be the Choyme. Aderach Moshe. As in the case of a person. Hadibur, what is speech in a person, reveals his thought, which is concealed and hidden L'Hashem to other people. Similarly, Shechina Zaniyim from Gilui. But, as the Rebbe said in the Shiyad of 2 days ago, the beginning of Perek Nun Beis, that's called the Reishis Esgal Saved Sof. It's the first point of Gilui. And Reishis Esgal Saved Sof is really Malchus Dein Sof. It's called Muhus V'yatzim Sein Sof, which is Nimshach and Elamis. But then we use the word Gilui. So it's Mislabesh in the Kedesh Kedoshim of Atzilus. And from the Kedesh Kedoshim of Atzilus, the Mislabesh is Beichel Kedesh Kedoshim of Bria. It goes into the Kedoshim of Bria. She Chabad de Bria, which is the Chabad de Bria. As I told you earlier, the total 10 spheres is the Beis HaMikdash of each world, because the Beis HaMikdash in Atzilus is the spheres of Atzilus. Beis HaMikdash in Bria is the spheres of Bria, and so forth. And the Kedesh HaKadoshim would be Chabad, the Heichal would be Chagas, and the Azor would be Nihi, and the Mizbech would be Malchus. Ubisapshusim of Malchus the Bria, then it goes into Bria. And Nivra, what creates, first of all, Haneshamas HaMalachim Shebria, the souls and the angels in the world of Bria. V'gam also Misham Nimshach HaTalmud Shalfani, we have the Shas, the Gemara, which is the Teir of Elam Abriya. Or commission is bio, discussed before in whatever, Perek Lamates, Perek Mem, B'Shem HaTikunim, the name of the Zayat. Sheba Elam Abriya Me'ir Mashpiyas Sham, that in the world of Bria there's a radiation and a flow. Of the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge of the Ein Sof, in a significant contraction. That it should be possible for angels, souls and angels, that are limited and with a specific purpose, to receive a flow from this Chabad. And as a result of this Tzimtzum Nimshach Misham, we have from the world of Bria, HaTalmud, the Gemara, which is Svaris of Halachas, right? Shugam Kem Bechinas Chabad, which is Ein of Chabad. Because what is Svaris? Svaris is intellect, halachic theory. Sha'atalmud Utaimi Halachas Al-Buriyam, because Gemara gives reasons for the halachas in a comprehensive way. And naturally, V'ataim Bechinas Chabad. The reasons are Chabad, V'halach is Atzman, and the halachas themselves, Hemimidesov, are the Midas, Asur and Mutir, is Gvur and Chesed, and so forth and so on. Shalein Sei Baruch Hashem Chesed and Rachman V'chulu, which is the three Inyanim of Chesed and Rachman. Shemehem Nimshach, from them comes Haheter V'ha'iseh, what's permitted, what's prohibited, V'akash V'apostle, what's fit and what's unfit, V'chiv V'aptur, what's mandatory and what's not mandatory, or what's liable and not liable. Look, Mishkas V'tikurim, and it says in Zayat. Now, boys, let me say this. We're stopping in the middle of an Inyan. The Inyan from Talmud and Mishnah, I'll talk to you more about it tomorrow. But now I want to tell you a very important Nekudah. Okay? The way Hishtalshlus occurs is like children being born. How was a child born? This is Tanya Perek Beis, classic. This Tipa Sa'av and Tipa Sa'ema, this shit in Kabbalah. The first thing that Tipa Sa'av and Tipa Sa'em form are the Pnimius of the Vlad, which is the Moyach HaVlad. Like it says in Tanya, V'gam Achshav, V'ben Yinikosav Mechinas Me'ech Tfuna. The brain of the child comes from the brain of the father, and the Tipa comes from the Moyach HaAv. Right? And it's the first thing that develops. And apparently in Svarim and in Rishonim there's a machlokes what forms first, the brain or the heart. But the Kula Al Malay Pligi, it's not the pinky. So the father's brain and the mother's brain creates the point from which the brain of the child is going to form. And the brain of the child is then going to create the rest of the child. You understand? So you have to understand the Ishtalshlus in the following manner. That doesn't really matter. You have a baby. What's the first thing develops in this baby? In an unborn child, in a fetus. He's still not rechem. He's concealed in a higher world. The first thing develops in this baby is his brain and his heart, which are his essence fetus. Until you have a complete brain, a complete heart, totally enveloped in the placenta, in the sac of the mother. Why? Because it's totally defenseless. The heart and the brain by itself has no walls to protect it from the world around itself. So it's being preserved inside the rechem of the mother. Then slowly, this baby creates itself From the heart and the brain, you're going to form the lungs, and the intestines, and the kidneys, and the spleen, and then the external features, the head, the torso, the beginning of the legs, and then it's going to develop into little orifices that are later going to become eyes, and nose, and a mouth, and ears, right? And fingers are going to develop slowly, and eventually the baby is going to develop more and more and more, and it's going to develop a skin. And at the very, very end of the pregnancy, it's going to develop hair and nails. This is the Seder. Then this baby is going to be born, and he's going to grow up, and it's going to be Veistach, Yesh Das, and therefore he's able to be meled, procreate, and the process is going to repeat itself again. So hastis, you have to understand that the moyach of every person does two functions. The first function of the moyach of every person is it creates itself, right? The father and the mother give a tipa, which creates the moyach of the vlad. The vlad itself doesn't come from the tip of the father. Of course it comes from the tip of the father, but through the moyach of the child. The child's moyach and lev develops first, and the vlad comes from the moyach and the lev of the vlad. You follow? So the name of this is Azoy. The Eibishter creates Esesfidas. Esesfidas, we had it in Tanya Lamates. Gamba Asiya and Kedusha Gumati is Esfidas Alakus. Malchus of Atzilus is one of the 10 Sfidas. The first function of Malchus of Atzilus is to create Atzilus. Olam HaAtzilus. There's Atzilus and Olam HaAtzilus. Olam HaAtzilus is called Levushim, it's called Heichalas, it's called Meduris. It's a big world. The Esesfidas, the brain of the heart, is the Beis HaMikdash. Now, what's the ratio of Beis HaMikdash to the rest of this planet? What's the ratio of a brain of a person to the rest of their biological body, their construct, their goof, their Levushim, and Chalke? It's tiny. So the first thing that the child does is create itself. The first thing that Atzilus does is create Olam HaAtzilus. That's number one. Number two, after it creates the world of Atzilus, which is really Legabi Elakus of Atzilus, Hela, it's called in Tanya and Kedesh Chaf, Yotzu v'nifredu, it's separate from Elakus. It creates the Nivroyim of Atzilus. Basically, this is the Malachim and the Neshamas. Malachim and the Neshamas are not Esesfidas. Malachim and the Neshamas are Nivroyim, even in Atzilus. They're Yotzu v'nifredu, they're not Iva Chayecha Diva Gamecha. Iva Chayecha Diva Gamecha, there's only in the Esesfidas, not in the Levushim and the Echalas. Except, like I told you in the Shir and Samachay, when it comes to Lahavas Behava Yod and Yesh Mayai, and then also Chitzenius Akelim is Iva Chaye, Iva Gamechad, but B'derech Klal, only the Pnim is Eses Sfidas, Iva Chaye, Iva Gamechad. So you have to remember what's happening. The first thing is the brain of the heart form. That's the 10 Sfidas. The brain of the heart then creates its own body, its own oilam. That's what it says in Chazal. What's meant Eilam HaShesiyah? Remember, Hush Tas Kol HaOilam. The world was created from Evan Shesiyah. And then it says, Adam Imakom Kaperasei Nivra. The whole world came from the Evan Shesiyah, which is the Beis HaMikdash. And then Adam Rishon also comes from that same place. So the way you see it is like this. The brain and the heart of Atzilus, which is the Esesfidas, creates the world of Atzilus. That's already step 2. First step is the Esesfidas. Second step is the world of Atzilus. The third step is that it creates the Nivraim of Atzilus, namely the Malachim and the Neshamas, who in one way or another are serving the Eibishter. And the fourth step is it creates Teira of Atzilus. Atzilus Teira is Kabbalah. The fifth thing it does is it creates the beginning of the Esesfidas of Bria. There's a Yichud Zon in Atzilus, which produces a Tipas Me'ach Ha'av, Zon, Tipas Me'ach Ha'em, Malchus, which creates the Esesfidas of Elam Abriya, and the process repeats itself. The first thing that the Sfiras of Elam Abriya create is their own goof, the Hechals and Madurim Abriya. Then they create the Malachim and the Neshamas Abriya. Then they create the Teira Abriya. You follow? And then they create the Tipas Me'ach Ha'av of Zon, Malchus Abriya, creates Get the point. This is the design. This is the model. Where is the Shechina? It begins in Chochmah, but it's Mislabish Malchus, and that's why it's called Isgalia. First you have the Esesfidas. First thing it forms is Chabad, but it goes into Malchus. Its permanent home is in the Malchus of each world. The Malchus of each world is the lowest point of the inner part of a world. Shechina. The Malchus of Atzilus is one of the Esesfidas. And to use Kabbalistic form, Esesfidas are Iva Gamei Echad, or Iva Chaye Echad, Iva Gamei Echad. In Malchus of Atzilus, there is Mahus, V'yatzma Sein Sof, which we know to be called Matrunisa, and Shechina Tata, Emet Tata, and Shechinta, and the Alma Dizgalia, and Knesset Yisrael, and Ema Bonim. So there's two Pneumistic points here. The first Pneumistic point is the Chabad of Atzilus. The second Pneumistic point is Malchus of Atzilus. The issue we're saying, that our Maimon is about, the Tanya is about, that just like in a person's brain, the whole neshama is in the brain. And even though only a small percentage of the neshama is going to be revealed in the rest of the goof, it's all in the brain. In the Nimshal, the brain is Malchus of Atzilus, not Chochma of Atzilus. And this is the Pshat Gilui, Alma Dizgali, Emetator. Do you see what I'm saying? There's two aspects to this Shechina issue. It starts out in Chabad, but its permanent residence is in Malchus of Atzilus. Malchus of Atzilus is also in Esesfiris, it's also Beis HaMikdash. Okay.